Welcome to day 3 of our JaNEWary challenge 2020 and our second day of doing a gentler approach looking at Lauren Scott's lovely arrangement of the Seal Lullaby. So we have 4 new bars today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by playing yesterday into today for you, and then we'll focus in on our new learning for today. I'm going to take it nice and steady. I'll count in just in case you want to join in with the beginning part, but here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and. Leave that there for today. So let's have a look at this newer section, starting in the 5th bar. First of all, we've got these 3 crotchets going down and then actually the minim just over the bar line. So be sure to place all 4 of those notes ready. C, B, A, G. The phrase takes us all the way to that G. If you recall, this is a choral work, and the melody lines are very much like being sung. So we want to think about those lines and think about crossing over bar lines. Bar lines are just a visual marker, just to break it up, to help us feel and see the beat better. They're not an actual stop mark or a pause mark. They're just a visual guide, like a grid, if you will. So, got that C, B, A, G in the top hand. Then we move down, so I've moved my hand with that as I played. I'm going to put my thumb on that G now and finger 2 on the E, so I'm either side of the black string. I just have this 2-1 on its own. Then I've got a couple of beats rest while my left hand plays something, and in that time I'm going to move down yet again. I'm going to get my thumb on the red and have 3 notes in a row, and I'm going to play down 1, 2, put my other fingers back on to head back up. So down, up. Okay, so if we just do that right hand from that C, B, A, G, this is the 5th bar. So we get all 4 fingers on. Notice how my fingers are lower than my thumb. I've got my elbow nicely out. Can't particularly see that on the recording there, but it's not stuck down here. You can see the difference there between my arms sort of glued to the soundboard, or actually my elbow up and being nicely sort of spaciously out. Here's our count then. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Moving ready. 1 and 2 and. Okay, that will almost be easier when we've added the left hand in, because that will give us those beats that I just counted for you in bar 7 there. Let's have a look at the left hand. So you may be familiar already with the idea of an octave and a 5th. It's such a common hand shape that with my younger students especially, I refer to it as one of those. It's reaching out the octave, and when you do that, your finger 2 almost naturally, I show you through the strings in my right hand, almost naturally will land on that note that's a 5th up from the bass. So in this case, A, E, A. Then another common shape, having got comfortable with that, is actually, it starts like that, but instead of the thumb being on the A to complete the octave, it reaches up a few notes higher to the C. So I call it a stretched out one of those. It's this same shape of the 4 and the 2 on the lower notes, but then the thumb reaches up higher. So I've got A, E and C. Now some of you will find that stretch quite tricky. It's quite a large stretch to do. So what you can do, if your hand isn't comfortable placing it, and certainly when you place a stretch this big, it is less important that your finger, or your 4th finger at least, is lower. It can be much more on a level. Although I'm making sure my finger 2 is pointing down still. But if that feels too big a reach, you can have 4 and 2 on, and your thumb can hover around, and then you can hop onto that C. Okay? They're played one after the other in this. It's not a chord, so it's perfectly acceptable to have the 4 and the 2. Have your hand kind of open so your thumb is ready to reach, and then hop into it. Totally acceptable to do that. Okay, so that's our first bar of that left hand. And then, having done such a big stretch, if your thumb goes down one and you open up to a triad, and I say open up very importantly there, so if my thumb's on the B and I'm opening up to a triad, so I'm going to miss a string out, place the next note, miss a string out, place the next note, rather than sort of consciously lifting up my fingers to find those notes, if I just allow my hand to open up, they will fall open and land on those strings. Okay, so I demoed there with my right hand just so that you could see it. But if I've got my thumb on the B and I just open up my fingers, notice how you didn't see any of that happening. There's no curling round to reach up for it. I'm just allowing them to fall out. Okay, and I play the third finger whilst leaving the 1 and 2 on. That's on the E. My 1 and 2 are on G and B, and I'm going to pluck those together. Okay, so if we just put those 2 bars together of the left hand, A, E, reaching for the C, whether you place it is up to you, and a little bit of space and time then to prepare my hand. It's an E triad because the E is the lowest note, but if you think of it as being the thumb down one from what you've played and just opening the fingers out, that's the easiest way to get to it. So I'm placing at the moment my A, E, ready for the C. This is the 5th bar of the piece. I'm going to count us in, just the left hand, 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and. Okay, let's try that one more time. Get your hand ready. A and E, thumb reaching for the C. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and. Okay, well done. You can keep practicing that as well, and it's being comfortable to move straight away to what's happening next there. Before we add any more in, let's just put the 1, 2, 3, 4, the C, B, A, G over the top of that. So just those 4 notes and that left hand. Okay, so the C, B, A, G is ready in my top hand. I've got a nice high thumb. My left hand is on the A and the E. My thumb is either ready on the C or it's upright and extended, ready to go onto it. And I'm going to count us in, 1 and 2 and 3 and. Well done. You may have noticed a bit of a clashy sound in there when we get to the, there, we've got a C in the left against a B in the right. That's 2, if I jump the C up, that's 2 strings, a B and a C right next to each other. It's naturally going to sound a bit clashy. It's just the melody line walking through that note, and it's okay. And it all sounds lovely in that second bar of that. Okay, left hand, having just played G and B with 1 and 2, all it needs to do is move down 1 to F and A, and down 1 again to E and G. And we're just going to do that 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Notice how well I bend my thumb in, my finger in. So thumb goes over the top there, finger goes in, so that they can just bounce straight back out. Boom, boom. Okay. And again, just feeling that. It's just down 1 from that previous bar and down 1 again. Okay. Then a little bit of a leap, so I'm allowing my hand to travel with my fingers. I don't sort of lead with my fingers, I take my hand over the notes I'm aiming for. And I'm going to open up, and my thumb is going to go on the red C, and my third finger, if I just allow it to fall open, you may find that it naturally lands on your F. On my harp, the F is a sort of black colour. My wire F is slightly browny, to be fair, but it's a blacky browny colour. The reason that may well do that is because those two notes, F and C, if I were to add finger 2 in the middle note, you'd see we've got that triad shape again. So F and C is just those two outer notes of a triad. So it's a very comfortable shape and finger choice for the hand to do. So it's going to play that C and F together, then it's going to move up one string. And again, if I've bent in really neatly and my hand's over the strings, so notice how my thumb is quite vertical. I'm not leaning in from over here. I'm there, and notice the difference. When I try and lean in, my shoulder's lifted. When I'm there, I'm quite relaxed in that shoulder. There's no elevation there. Okay. Okay. Now, it can get a bit murky down on those metal strings. So what you can do, rather than aiming for that lovely midpoint of the string that we normally aim for, because that's where it's most resonant, we're going to go down an inch or maybe even a couple of inches below that midpoint. That may just take my hand off screen a moment, but bringing it down. Okay. And the science of that is that when you pluck in the middle of the string, the vibration, the shape of the vibration from that point can be very even above and below that midpoint. When you pluck nearer one end or the other, you'll have a bigger vibration above it in the more space and a tighter vibration under it. And then the physics of that mean that the quality of the sound is slightly changed. And in this case, it makes it slightly less resonant, which is perhaps a good thing because it can be a bit murky. Okay, so let's try straight on bar 7 with both hands. So our left hand is on F and A. So our thumb is on the A, finger 2 just opens out to that black F. The right hand is going to be coming in from middle C. It's going to play 3 notes in a row, but it can't quite be sat on ready yet because my thumb's on that A. I could have my thumb on the red. To be fair, because of what you would have just played, you wouldn't actually start right at this point with both hands on anyway, so it won't be an issue when you get to it. So, but we're going to start there now. So our left hand is going to lead. I'll count us in. And if you remember, the top hand is going to go C, B, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. I'll count us in. This is going into bar 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so my left hand moved down. My right hand was comfortable where it was. I didn't need to give that my attention. My focus could go to getting my left hand on that red and opening up my finger 3. And by just opening it up, I'm not having to look for it, not having to do any weird movement. I can just open up and there I am. Okay, let's put all of that together now. Okay, so the one thing we haven't played yet is the E, G at the end of 6. Leading into that left hand there. So maybe just do that first. So end of bar 6, we've got E and G in the right hand. And it's answered in bar 7 by the F and the A and the E and the G. And then we'll see if you can also, having done that, go on to play the C, B, A in the top and the left hand moving down. So this is the end of bar 6. I'll count you in with a 1 and 2 hand. 1 and 2 and. Left and. Well done. Should we just try that again? End of bar 6 again, E and G. Left hand on F and A. 1 and 2 and. There we go. Quite nice that in that little end phrase, B, C, A, B, C, you've got your thumb on the red in your right hand, and your left hand, the notes it's heading for, also ends up with a thumb on the red. So there's a nice pulling together of similarity there that you can use to help aid you in finding your way around the piece. Let's go back now then to the beginning of bar 5, the beginning of what we've learnt today. The Dynamic marking, the volume marking, is mezzo piano, MP, so it's a little bit louder than what we played yesterday. So we started yesterday with a nice quiet section, these chords. Now we're bringing in a bit more of a melodic element, so we're going to be a tiny bit louder. So we're going to get our right hand ready with C, B, A, G, the 4 in a row. And our left hand is going to be on the A and the E with 4 and 2. Your thumb may or may not be placed on the C, depending if you can reach it. I'm just going to breathe nice and calmly. Notice how relaxed or released my shoulders are. There's no hunching up. And I'm going to count you in. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, we'll try that again. Right hand, C, B, A, G. Left hand, A and E, reaching for the C. If you want to just do one hand or the other, that's okay. Maybe do the left hand. Okay, same count. Again, let's breathe in and out. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Keep breathing. Well done. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play from the beginning to that point. If you want to just join in with today's bit, that's okay. So you could be sitting ready, waiting for bar 5, just to join in then, but just so that you can hear the two fitting together. So I'm going to start at the very beginning. I will count you in. If you want to do it, that's okay. Otherwise you can sit waiting on bar 5 and join me at that point. Here's the beginning then, with a D triad in both hands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 3 and. Well done. Did you keep up? If you did, that's brilliant. Well done. If you didn't, that's okay too. Keep gently working at it. And the joy of doing just a small chunk each day is that you haven't got to worry about anything that's coming up. You can't tackle that yet. It's not there. It doesn't exist for you yet. What exists for you is what we've done today, and that's what you can work on. Maybe revisit it again later in the day. Do little short parts through the day, and then by the time you go to bed this evening, you might find that you've really moved forward with it. Okay? Well done.